Happening now, parents and kids are getting ready for the start of yet another school year. Of course, you have your school supplies and clothes, and don't forget those immunizations. News 13's David Romero is here with what you need to know about them. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Matt. Immunizations are critical for kids going back to school, not only for the sake of their health, but for the health of others around them. Now, for the little ones in the lower grades, of course, we are referring to students in the 4 to 6 age group. They're going to need things like polio and measles booster shots. Another critical set of shots that the students will need are for whooping cough and tetanus. Now, doctors say parents should check with their child's school requirements as to what they will need and to have their current on their immunization record.
Everybody's getting ready to go to school. The thought of, I need to get my annual physical, get those vaccines, make sure I'm growing, everything that goes with an annual physical exam with your pediatrician or family practice doctor, it's a good timing to get those boosters.
And of course, doctors say it's important to make your appointment with your child's doctor as soon as possible and before school starts, because this is usually a very busy time for them as well. Matt, back to you.
All right, good information, David. Thank you. It's not just the little ones who need the boosters and new vaccines, but middle schoolers and even college students. Coming up in a half hour, David's going to tell us about what some doctors say is a critical vaccination for those groups of kids. You do not want to miss that. Well, 4 audits from APS recently made public show thousands of dollars was mismanaged or simply not collected in 4 different schools and 4 different programs. They're with Volcano Vista's show choir, Harrison Middle School's cheerleading program, La Cueva's DECA program, and Ernie Pyle Middle School's South Valley Leadership Corps. The audits uncover a wide range of issues, from candy bar fundraisers coming up thousands of dollars short, the students being allowed to go on trips they didn't pay for, plane tickets that were bought and were not used, even a banquet that never even happened, and that cost one program more than $5 grand. The Volcano Vista audit alone had more than 17 major findings. The school board president says this should be a wake-up call of principals and parents.
If I were a booster parent out there, I'd be asking those questions. Show me your budget. Show me how much you plan on spending line item by line item.
Ms. Court there says the district is looking at tightening up the oversight on Booster Club finances to try to solve some of these programs. 5:03 now, a man who was arrested by Albuquerque police for feeding the homeless sued the city. Well, now the city and you are having to pay up. Alfonso Hernandez was feeding the hungry on 4th Street Mall when officers arrested him back in 2010 for, quote, serving food without a permit, disobeying a police officer, and trespassing. Now, you should know there is no law saying you need a permit to go feed the hungry as long as you're not going to make a profit. All of his charges got dropped. Hernandez hopes his payout sends the city a strong message.
Sharing food with someone because they're hungry, it's elemental to our Christian traditions. And for the city government to come down and saying that we need their permission is totally wrong.
The city called the payout an economic decision based on the potential cost of the litigation. It was somewhere in the range of about $40,000 to $45,000. All right, parents and kids and a lot of concerned people protesting yesterday. They do not want the state moving a probation and parole office into a building in downtown just steps away from the youth center. We're all talking downtown Albuquerque, the Warehouse 508, and the folks there are concerned that criminals and other offenders going to the Plaza Maya building near 1st and Lomas will be too close to kids who are going to the warehouse.
We're going to be bringing in nearly 10,000 parolees into this building, right down the street, a little over 100 feet from the front door of YDI, Warehouse 508, and YMCA. It's just not going to be a safe and secure area for the youth.
Now, the purchase of the Plaza Maya building for probation and parole is not a done deal just yet. As we've told you, it still has to go through the Board of Finance for final approval. Well, the federal hearing on Roswell's horse slaughterhouse is set to happen today. Remember last week, animal rights groups got a restraining order to prevent the plant here and another slaughterhouse that is planned in Iowa from opening until their environmental impact is evaluated. If the opponents lose their suit, they're going to have to cover the company's losses. Now, today's hearing is supposed to determine how big a bond the animal rights groups will have to post for this. The company in Roswell Valley Meats wants at least a $10 million bond. We'll keep you posted on what happens. Well, call it off. That is a request one group is making of the gun shop in Los Lunas sponsoring a prairie dog hunting contest. People for Native Ecosystems is asking Gunhawk Firearms to instead attend a seminar on New Mexico wildlife and the importance of prairie dogs. Another group has started an online petition that so far has more than 1,200 signatures. Now, you might remember Gunhawk Firearms is the same shop that made national headlines and a lot of controversy for its coyote hunting contest. Gunhawk says the Prairie Dog Hunt will go on because the critters cause problems for farmers and ranchers. A deadly crash involving 2 jet skis on a lake here in New Mexico. This happened yesterday on the Pecos River in an area called Lake Carlsbad. 4 young adults were on 2 jet skis when they crashed into each other. One person died, another was rushed to the hospital, was badly hurt but should survive. New Mexico State Parks officers are investigating.
The focus of the investigation at this point is trying to understand what led to the accident, but we don't have the particulars yet, but they're working on that.
Investigators have not released the names or ages of those involved. They're also not saying if the 2 groups knew each other.